Now that we're talking a little bit about purpose, I would like to take a moment before we get into our next question to talk about something that I've been noticing when it comes to mergers and acquisitions. And we've had a lot of activity lately for our clients when it comes to acquiring another business or selling their business. Some of them are thinking of selling their entire business, including the actual business entity. Others are thinking of selling a part of their business, some of the assets of their business. Others are thinking of buying another business. We are actually very close ourselves to closing on the acquisition of another law practice that will become a part of our law firm. And so uh, this is something that I think, especially if you have an owner-operated business where the business is set up by the technicians initially, and then they move more into a business model where they have a team and staff, and those initial founders and owners move more into an executive role where they're focused on the future and less about the problems that the business is facing now. One of the issues that comes up is what will happen down the road? What are your plans for the business? Is it that you plan to sell it? Is it that you plan that you want someone in your family to take over control of the business? Do you want to sell it to someone outside of your family? Do you want to turn it over to the employees and let them be the owners of the business and decide how they want it managed and run? I say that because if you think about the higher purpose for your business, right? Understanding what the plans are for it after you are involved in the day-to-day running of it and after you are involved as a CEO for thinking about it will make a shift in how you handle the day-to-day legal work. This is where your business turns into one that is where the operations of today are driven by the plans for the future, and where you can set it up where your business has either, if your board of directors is not doing it, then your board of advisors is doing it, where they're the ones setting the stage for the future and driving what happens around the business day to day because they're focused on the future. Does that mean that the people in the business day to day aren't handling the day to day issues? Of course they are. But if you talk to any business, there are different department heads and the different leaders in the business usually have KPIs, key performance indicators. They usually have priorities. They usually have reporting that has to get done around key aspects of the business. And those metrics that are identified are usually associated with future plans, future goals. Those future plans could be based off of a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. But I will tell you this, if you're a business owner, you've set up a business, you have a plan to exit in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. Some people say that they plan to exit as little as 5 years, 3 to 5 years. Then having an understanding that you plan to exit, if you are thinking of exiting in 3 to 5 years, which is a relatively short time frame. Of course, if you are thinking of exiting in less than 3 years, then you should already have conversations with counsel underway around that. If your time frame is short, 3 to 5 years, if you're thinking more about, well, I will probably stop doing this in 10 years, or I will probably be out of this business in 15 or 20 years, I promise you that knowledge, that awareness is going to shift how you approach the legal and regulatory work in your business. And so that is something, number one, you want to share with the attorneys that you work with in your business, that you have a long-term plan or a short-term plan of exiting. And here's why, because there are so many ways that an attorney can get to where you want to go based off of how you present what you're asking for. If you say, I need this for employees, or I need that for brand protection, there's so many ways to approach it. And so you want them to choose the way that supports your longer term goals. If you have a longer term goal around exiting your business to an external acquirer, then that could create little shifts in how the work is getting done so that when it comes time to exit, it is that much easier. And let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in whether you can get to a signed letter of intent, whether you can get to a signed purchase agreement, whether you make it through the due diligence period without them backing out, whether the due diligence period is going to affect the purchase price, whether it will affect the purchase price before you get to the due diligence period and while you're still negotiating the LOI. I'm telling you this because these small shifts could have a huge impact on the value of your business later on. Same thing for acquisition, right? A little different when it comes to acquiring a business, but if you're in the business of acquiring businesses, then yes, it will have an impact on how easily these deals occur for you. And of course, all of that impacting the legal fees associated with it. But I honestly believe that there is something even bigger than the legal fees associated with it when it comes to getting the deal done. It is whether the deal gets done and how much you have to give up when it comes to assets and control and your involvement in the business to get the deal done. So really do share your longer term vision. And if you aren't quite ready to share that vision, then it may be because you need a little bit of help in clarifying what your long-term vision is. And that's okay. The more you talk about it and the more you bring this to the people in your business designed to advise you from different perspectives, the more you will get clarity around it. I promise you that. Because that conversation coupled with action is going to give you the feedback you need. You'll get feedback within your body in terms of how you feel, how you reflexively react to what people are suggesting to you and advising you. That's feedback. The speed in which it takes you to implement the advice, to take action, is feedback to you and creates clarity around what you really want for your future. So I hope that that is helpful for you. I wanted to just bring in to this environment some of the things that I've been noticing from a thematic standpoint around the work that we've been doing, both for clients and for ourselves. When we are, as we embark on this journey of closing on this acquisition, we're noticing some things too. In that situation, I certainly believe the seller would have done many things differently if they had an idea that they would be selling at this time, which they did not have an idea of that. But if they had an idea that they would be selling at this time, I think they would have done a lot of things differently, but it would not actually have been harder or more work or more expensive work. It just would have been different, right? But in a way that has a bigger impact and a positive impact when it comes time to sell or buy.